Hello everyone, my name is Mrs. Mariam Farid. Today we are going to cover chapter 9 in A Tale of Two Cities for third prep. In chapter 8 we talked about how Gaspard was killed and how John Barset was trying to get some pieces of information from the Devage at the wine shop. In chapter 9 we are going also to understand that Lucy and Darnay are married and depart on a 2-week honeymoon. Observing hints of the doctor's former mental incapacity, Mr. Lorry tells Miss Pross that although he must take care of some business, he will return soon. When he returns, the doctor has regressed to his previous state of total absorption in his shoemaking and appears not to know Mr. Lorry or Miss Pross. Dr. Manette was totally damaged after 18 years of imprisonment in the Bastille. But of course, with love and care, Lucy's love and care, she managed to recall him to life again. But when she got married, Dr. Manette became ill again and he began to lose his memory again. So he was involved in making shoes as if he began to consider himself as if he was in prison. The situation continues for 9 days, and Mr. Lorry arranges that neither the doctor's patients nor Lucy and Darnay know about the doctor's relapse, returning to his former illness. Mr. Lorry also left Tellson's to stay at the Manette home and watch over his friends. Turning to slide 3. On the 10th morning, Dr. Alexander Manette awakens fully recovered and unaware that anything unusual has transpired. Mr. Lorry conveys to the doctor what has happened and asks what caused the relapse and how it can be prevented. The doctor explained that he expected the relapse, which was caused by the revival of certain memories. He believes that the worst is over and doubts that another relapse could happen. If one did, it would most likely result from an intense experience that revived those some memories. Slide 4. Mr. Lorry also questions the wisdom of keeping the shoemaking bench and materials, pointing out that their presence reminds the doctor of the past that has caused him so much pain. Of course, there is no need now to keep your tools of making shoes. You have to forget this period of your life in which you suffered a lot. Uneasily agreeing, Dr. Manette requests that Mr. Lorry dispose of the bench and tools without him. Therefore, Mr. Lorry and Miss Pross bury the tools and burn the shoemaking bench after the doctor leaves to join Lucy and Darnay on their trip. Slide 5. Soon after Lucy and Darnay return from their honeymoon, Carton visits them. He takes Darnay aside and, in an unusually sincere tone, asks for Darnay's friendship and apologizes for his rudeness after the trial. When they had dinner together, if you can remember, after the trial. Darnay is casual about the apology, but assures Carton that he has forgotten any past offenses. Carton then asks permission to visit the family occasionally. He wished only to be a friend to the family and to have the permission to visit them from time to time, and Darnay grants it. Later that evening, after Carton leaves, Darnay comments on Carton's irresponsible nature, causing Lucy to ask him to show Carton more consideration in the future, more respect, and to show him more love. Turning to the questions, number 1. Oh me, all is lost. What is to be told to Lucy? He doesn't know me. Comment. These words were said by Miss Pross to Mr. Lorry at Dr. Manette's house after Lucy's wedding. When they entered his room, they saw the bench turned towards the light. He was busy making shoes. He lost his mind again. He couldn't even remember Miss Pross or Mr. Lorry. His mind was far from the present. He went back to shoemaking. His mind was torn between his desire for his daughter's happiness and the fear and hatred he feels towards his old enemies, because he knew that Charles Darnay was the nephew of the Marquis, and we are going to know later on that the Marquis himself was the main reason and cause for his great imprisonment. That's why Dr. Manette was in a great conflict, and of course he began to remember what happened to him because of this cruel person, I mean the Marquis. For 9 days, Miss Pross and Mr. Lorry had done their best to help him and bring his mind back. On the 10th day, they passed the day in the country and the doctor was completely recovered. Question 2, turning to slide 7. Remember how strong we are in our happiness and how weak he is in his misery. Comment. These words were said by Lucy to her husband, Charles Darnay. When he told her about his conversation with Carton, she believed that Carton was weak in his misery and loneliness. She begged her husband to show some respect and consideration to Carton, as his heart was full of wounds, to love him true love and to respect his feelings. Thanks a lot for your great attention today, and goodbye.